Hello, everyone. It's Mark Gilliard again, and I want to welcome you to your new favorite song here on AIM Country Music Television. My guest today is a veteran, a comedian, hypnotist, and singer-songwriter, Thom Kaz. Thom is a bit of a rare bird in the music business. He's had a military career. He's deeply involved in the medical field to this day. He just sat down and learned to play guitar and write songs 3 years ago. Thom is passionate about helping our troubled veterans. He's set up an organization called Whiskeytown Warriors to help with homelessness, nutrition, suicide prevention, and other medical conditions brought on by the stresses of military service. He's also introduced Whiskeytown barbecue sauce in support of this mission and partnered with BrainTap to push the boundaries of the possibilities inherent in our brains. Thom obviously has his fingers in a lot of different ventures, but he's here today to talk about the video for his song, Outlaw in the USA. So let's get him in here right now to talk about what might just be your new favorite song. Welcome to the program, Thom.
Hey, how's it going, Mark? Great to see you.
It's going very well, and it's great to see you too. We're pleased you could come on the show today.
Yeah, my honor as well. Thank you for the opportunity to meet your viewers.
I believe they're going to enjoy it. I've been listening to some of your music and familiarizing myself with your catalog just a little bit, but this song is the only one I've listened to enough to, really recognize it. You've got a pretty wide variety out there. I say we just jump in with both feet. Give us the full intro. What should we know about Thom Kaz?
Wow, it's a lot to talk about. I guess when it comes to the musical part, I grew up as an Air Force brat, so I was around the military my whole life, and then I actually served a few years in the Air Force. My brother and father both retired over 20 years, so I've been in and around the military space for a long time. I was headlining out in Vegas a few years ago with my other show. I do comedy hypnosis shows in Vegas and around the world too. But I just felt like, Whiskeytown came out of a commitment to my best friend. And his name was Jimmy Francia. And, he kept encouraging me to write for a number of years. And finally, he's like, go do it. So I wrote a song called The Whiskey Town. He paid for my first recording session. So I had no excuses. And I went and recorded Whiskey Town. And that's what started this all, was kind of a friend saying, it's time. You've raised your family. You've done your thing. And unfortunately, Jimmy passed away during COVID, 1 year into the project. And our dream was to really, have him sell his store and travel the country and perform in venues near military bases and really bring some inspiration and hope to our veterans. So that's how it all started, was kind of a friend saying, hey, you can do this. And he believed in me, and so I did. And since that time, which would have been 2019, I've written 32 songs. 12 of them are on the Whiskeytown album. Outlaw in the USA is on that first album, and very proud of it. My first effort, and one of the other things I'm trying to do is I'll turn 56 in 4 days, 5 days, is to inspire people, chase your bucket list. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. So that's really what Whiskeytown is for me. It's a passion project. It's a project that has a mission behind it to help our veterans with mental wellness. And just been very grateful and appreciative of people like yourself that are helping me share not only my music, but my mission.
And if I've understood correctly, you've only been pursuing a music career for the last 3 years or so?
That's correct. In June of 2019, I picked up my Ovation guitar my wife bought me 5 days after we met, which is 23 years ago. And I finally said, I'm going to start learning how to play this thing and start writing music. And I remember shooting a video that day going, I'm going to document my journey. So I have, some of the recording sessions, some of the things I've done in Nashville. And again, part of my mission here is to inspire anyone that's watching that maybe had to step away from their dreams for a little while and raise a family or, what have you, and just never give up on your dreams. Always pursue what you're passionate about, even if it had to be put on hold for 30 years. So for me, that's part of what we're doing here is bringing, something to the table that's, I call it music that matters. So.
Sure, that's really good advice. We talk to a lot of younger artists here, and sometimes they're disappointed if they haven't made it when they've hit their 20s. But they have so much more life in front of them that don't give up is such good advice.
Well, a lot of success stories have come from people that were in their, later days. Kentucky Fried Chicken was founded by the Colonel because they took his store away from him where he made chicken, and he went around and, 1,000 different people said, no, sir, I'm not interested. But he was in his 60s, right? And you've got people like Rodney Dangerfield, who was a painter, became a comedian. Cedric the Entertainer was an insurance salesman in his 40s when he started acting. So, it's never too late to start. And like I said, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So
That's right. And you're also a hypnotist.
I am. I started learning about the power of the mind as an athlete. My first love was baseball, believe it or not, and had an opportunity to play at some higher levels. But yeah, it's just there's so much happening right now in the world, and just focusing on the mind is important. And I think mental wellness, we've got a lot of things happening to us: cell phones, radiation towers, nutrition, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough rest. I think our country needs a boost. And part of my mission here is to bring. I've assembled a team of top neuroscientists, meditation experts, nutritionists, so that when Whiskey Town starts to become a big live show and when we're generating significant dollars, I can channel some of that into providing veterans with nutrition and technology versus poison and pills. And 81% of our veterans are on some type of antidepressant. So as a hypnotist and as a guy who works with the mind, I could have retired and just moved to the beach and rode jet skis and fished, right? But after I came back from Vegas, I'm like, what's the next chapter for Thom Kaz? And my family and I got together and it was write music, perform, inspire, motivate, and help people find hope. And so as a hypnotist, I feel that that is my calling. I feel that's what God's purposed me for, to use my gifts to help people. And the music is a platform to get in front of them in a big way. So I'm excited about what 2025 is bringing.
Those are a worthy set of goals, and I support all of them.
Thank you.
So, what are some of your musical influences? Listening to a few of your songs, it's a pretty wide variety, at least on Whiskey Town. Are there 12 songs on that album?
There's 12 songs in the album. Actually, we did Outlaw in the USA full band, and then we also have an acoustic version. So there's 12 songs on the album. Two of those are Outlaw in the USA, one acoustic and one full band. But the genre fluid style of the record comes from my diversity in music. I started listening to when I was a little kid. I was born in Japan. My dad had this, remember the big stereo systems, your
Yes, the
speakers are 4 foot
console.
tall. Right. And my father had a reel to reel, if you can think back to those days. And we had a chest. It sits right over here. And it had Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, the Commodores, Elvis Presley, all the great acts of the 50s, 60s, and 70s in reel to reel. And I used to come up here and put that reel to reel on and pretend I was singing. So those are some of my influences. If you go back to people like Elvis Presley, B.B. King, more modern would have been Bon Jovi, Styx, Journey. And on the countryside, I like listening to guys like Morgan Wallen and Kenny Chesney that are a little bit more edgy in their style. So when I write for me, but I'm writing to help bring something to the listener. The new song I just came out with, Don't Let the Hard Days Win. It's something that we in the military will say when it's a tough day, and we just got to look at each other and say, don't let the hard ones win. We just got to make it through this day, not worry about tomorrow. And so that's really, from the influential side, I like to write stories. I like to write music that inspires people. And I like to write and create music that makes people feel something, hopefully good and inspired. So that's where my influences came from a very young age, were those great artists. And then obviously moving into the 80s and 90s, the bands that I mentioned.
Right. What are some of your favorite songs to listen to, when no one's watching?
Besides my own songs, I listen to 100 times a day. When you're a songwriter, I've got this big stack of papers over there, and a friend of mine came up last night. He goes, "How many songs have you written?" And I showed him the stack. He goes, "Holy cow!" I said, "No, that's it's like 12 songs that aren't even finished yet." But what was your question? You just asked me a question. I forgot what it was.
Oh, I ask you to who you listen to. You obviously listen to lots of your own, but who bumps to the top for you?
Yeah, I've been my producer on the first album, which is Whiskey Town, which is Outlaw in the USA, was a gentleman by the name of Ryan White Maloney. And Ryan was on season 6 of The Voice, and his roommate was a young man named Morgan Wallen. And so it was Ryan that kind of encouraged Morgan when he was with him at The Voice, performances, to really pursue country music. If you go back and watch his videos, he was wanting to be more of a pop star. And so I listen to Morgan, I listen to Kenny Chesney, I'm listening to some of the new Bon Jovi, Living Proof and Legendary. But I have a pretty wide gamut of artists that I listen to. But right now, I'd say I'm listening to Morgan Wallen, listening to Luke Combs, um, just so many great artists. But those are some of the ones that I'm listening to when I'm driving down the street.
So, do you work with a band for most of your shows or tend towards solo work?
I'm a band guy. As you mentioned earlier, I've only been playing guitar for about 4 years, but I've gotten to where I can play it pretty well. But I had to teach myself guitar, keyboards, and bass to be able to articulate my ideas to the musicians in the studio, right? I've been playing drums since I was about 7, so I can play drums pretty well. I've been on stage with some interesting bands. But yeah, that's really what's going on with me right now.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I noticed there's some really good guitar work on the one we're talking about today. I'm pretty excited to get to that.
Yeah.
You're a patriotic guy, a veteran, and working to support veteran causes. What should we be doing to fix some of the problems, in our veteran community?
Well, the statistics were sitting around 20 to 22 a day a few years ago. Our veterans have been displaced quite a bit around the country. Places they were staying, hotels were giving them, places have been kind of shifted. They've kind of been kicked to the curb, just to call it bluntly. And so a lot of people don't understand, and I do have a formal medical background in radiology and emergency medicine. That was before I became an entertainer. People need to understand that, mental wellness comes from two things. It comes from getting your brain to think the way you want it to think and providing the proper nutrition to your gut brain axis, right? And so what we're doing and what we have done is we've created a protocol that allows an individual like yourself to put on a headset. It's headphones and some lights and a blink in frequencies to help guide you into alpha or theta or delta for such as something like sleep. So part of what I've been doing with Patrick Porter, the founder of BrainTap. And BrainTap is an innovative way to help a person who doesn't want to spend 30 years becoming a Zen monk, literally, use neuroplasticity and get their brain to work for them rather than against them. So we use music, we use meditation, we use frequencies to help guide them. And so when you put nutrition that supports the gut brain axis with meditation and teaching people how to actually train their brain or actually change their belief systems through hypnotherapy or whatever, those effects are much more dramatic and more long term than giving someone an antidepressant and sending them home, and 3 months later they come back and you put them on something else. The statistics are mind blowing. So our goal is I've partnered with BrainTap. We have 4,000 doctors nationwide. We have 120,000 online subscribers. And our goal is to take music and guide people towards that model, right? There's a lot of people that are probably watching this right now that are stressed out. Our country's going through a lot financially, emotionally, spiritually, professionally, personally. And so I hope that I can become a voice for the voiceless, not only for our veterans, but for those individuals that are staying in bed all day because they don't know how to fix the problem. And the problem's not here most of the time, it's here. And once you get this right, this starts to function a little bit better. So that's part of my mission is to not only educate, I call it edutainment, educate while you entertain. Um, but that's, at this stage of my life, it's about giving back and bringing something to the space that works, that has, like I said, 4,000 doctors use this technology, but it's not something that the wide masses know about. So that's
Right. Yeah,
my
I
mission is
hadn't heard of it.
yeah, and so, when I meet you, when I come up to Fort Wayne to Sweetwater and go record some more at Silver Birch, I'll come see you. But yeah, that's really what it's about is re-education, changing the narrative. Um, these companies make billions of dollars because of government contracts, and they feed our veterans and our active duty antidepressants like it's candy, like it's a Pez dispenser.
Well,
And
that's a crime.
it should be. Obviously Robert Kennedy and President Trump have a different agenda, and they want to bring people to the awareness of the foods they eat, the things that they can do to feel better, function better, so we have a better country. So I want to be part of that, and that's really the movement that we've created here is tying entertainment and education to mental wellness. In fact, when you come to one of my live shows, you can go to the merch desk and actually sit down and do a 5 minute brain tap session and experience it for yourself. So it's yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice. It's 20 minutes of get away from everything and let your brain relax. And we see measurable differences when people use these things. So, and as I always say, God didn't give us an owner's manual sticking out our butt when we were born on how to use your body and your brain. We learn over time and experience, and that's what I want to share with not only the veterans but with our country. That I've got 40 years of experience doing this, And it's time. It's time that we do something in a different way on a bigger scale.
I agree completely. But speaking of time, we're here today to talk about your song, Outlaw in the USA. Tell us a little bit about the song before we play it.
Sure. Outlaw in the USA, it's kind of funny. As I said, I was working with Ryan on the record, and we had 10 songs. And it was a lot for me as a brand new songwriter a couple years ago to write 10 songs. It was a daunting task. I had one when I went to see him called Whiskey Town, and then I just kept writing and kept writing. Um, but Outlaw in the USA is a song that came to me after attending a rally in Waco, Texas. And I just felt like, those of us who grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, we lived a different life than the kids that are here today, right? We didn't have technology. We were outside playing or doing chores, you know? So Outlaw in the USA came from that 2 month period where my producer Ryan had COVID and he was in the hospital. And I was like, he's in the hospital and my record's supposed to drop in 2 weeks. But during that time, I was able to go to a rally and I just felt like President Trump and others like General Flynn were being treated like outlaws when in fact they were defending our Constitution and our rights as American citizens. So it came to me very quickly one evening. I just felt like, he's an outlaw in the USA. And so that's where the song came from initially. And then as I wrote the song, I started thinking about our veterans. When I drive down San Francisco or I'm in Los Angeles or even in Las Vegas, I'll stop and I'll interact with these homeless people, and you'll be surprised to find out that two or three of them out of maybe five or six are veterans. And I just felt like God was purposing me to bring this to the world through my music and through my connections in the medical industry. So, Outlaw in the USA is the only song I know that talks about living by the Constitution, standing up for your rights, and helping our veterans all in one song. So, I'm very proud. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. That was actually one of the questions that came to mind when I saw the title. It seemed odd to me that the patriotic, law-abiding folks were being called outlaw, but your point is correct. It's a real thing.
Right. Well, it's a real thing. And, when you look at the facts, I mean, whether you're a Trump supporter or you're not, it doesn't matter. We all now see that they put this man and his family through hell on purpose. And when you start looking, as a 55-year-old being 56 in a few days, I was here to see what the country was like 30 years ago, before the internet, before kids were married to their cell phones and not really thinking for themselves. I mean, you and I, we had to write term papers on a typewriter or a computer that was really slow. These kids today can go to Chat GPT, pop the whole thing out, put their name on it, turn it in. So they're being told what to think and not how to think. And that's also part of my movement, is to show people that, hey, no matter where you are in life, always stand up for what you believe in.
Agreed. Well, I'm ready to play this song. How about you?
Hey, yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. You're watching Thom Kaz's video for Outlaw in the USA here on AIM Country Music Television.
The time has come for all of us to stand as one. And freedom, well, it ain't free. Too many soldiers have died for you and me. They give their blood, sweat, and tears every single day, made a sacrifice for the American way. It's time to seize the day and make a proclamation. Say it loud and proud all across the nation. I'm an outlaw in the USA. I bleed red, white, and blue every single day. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you take my freedom away. I'm gonna live my life by the Constitution. Wanna stand right up and join the revolution. Wanna sing it so loud you can hear me coming miles away. Yeah, 'cause I'm an outlaw in the USA. gave some and some gave all. When you needed a hero, they answered the call. Now they need our help, it's our turn to be. It's time to raise the flag, I got something to say. I'm an outlaw in the USA. I bleed red, white, and blue every single day. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you take my freedom away. I'm gonna live my life by the Constitution. Wanna stand right up and join the revolution. Wanna sing it so loud you can hear me coming miles away. Yeah, 'cause I'm an outlaw in the USA. Well, bow your heads down because it's time to pray. Yeah. Don't give a damn what social media or TV say, 'cause the man upstairs, the one that you can't see, gave us God-given rights, so we're all born free. 'Cause I'm an outlaw in the USA. I bleed red, white, and blue every single day. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you take my freedom away. I'm gonna live my life by the Constitution. Gonna stand right up and join the revolution. Wanna sing it so loud you can hear me coming miles away. Yeah, 'cause I'm an outlaw in the USA. Yeah, and I was born here and I plan to stay. Yeah, 'cause I'm an outlaw in the USA. Yeah, 'cause I'm an outlaw in the USA.
Cool song. I really love the guitar work on the lead break. It's really almost chicken picking, but with a rock edge. Really nice.
You know, that's one of the things that I wanted for this song. It's interesting because when I was writing it, I had heard an interview on the radio, and they were talking about great songs that start with a drum beat, right? And I also wanted something kind of tribal and different. So that doom, 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 that part. And then Ryan, in his brilliance, came up with the opening riff, which is dun, 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 right? And then it ends that way. So Outlaw, people ask me, is it a rock song? Is it a country song? I say, no, it's an American song because it incorporates, as you said, it's got that lead guitar during the solo that's just going crazy and it feels good, but it works for the song and it really brought the song to another level. That solo is probably my favorite part of the whole record is that solo.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Our audience is really very country, but I think this is going to go over very well with them. Now, I know you're donating to veteran causes. Are you supporting some specific veteran-oriented charities, or mostly working through Whiskey Town Warriors?
It's both, actually. So I do work with like Veterans for America First, which is the Trump. It was initially called Veterans for Trump, and then it became Veterans for America First. And I was asked to be a brand ambassador for them a few months ago, and I did an endorsement video for President Trump. But our charity is called the Whiskey Town Warriors, and what I'm doing is I live here in Mobile, Alabama, where Jimmy Buffett was born and bred, right? So I grew up watching Jimmy Buffett's, songs go crazy, and then of course he built Margaritaville into an empire with the song. He told me, he said, I wrote that song in 20 minutes. I had a buzz. I stepped on something, and it made me think about stepping on a pop top or something. But I felt like if I could create a song and a brand that could perpetuate even when I was gone, that the revenues from that licensing, the revenues from other things besides t-shirts and hats could be used to again channel towards moving this Whiskeytown Warriors movement to help our veterans and offset the cost. So one of the things we're doing, and I want to bring you some of this or send you some of this. This is my own version of barbecue sauce. It's called Whiskeytown barbecue sauce. So I'll hold that up for everybody so they can see the spelling. But if you go to ilovewhiskeytown.com and you can check out my music there, of course. Whiskeytown's free. You can listen to it. Outlaw in the USA is on that site. But you can also order our Whiskeytown barbecue sauce. And what we've done through the retail stores, we're here in the Piggly Wiggly stores in the South. Piggly Wiggly's a funny name, but they have 500 stores. So we're now selling the barbecue sauce in the Southeast. And we take a percentage of every bottle sold and we put it towards that mission. And the mission again is using revenues from live shows, merchandise, and things like this to help create a pool of revenue that can be directed toward helping our veterans. One of our plans is as we go around the country, let's say we come to Indiana and we find a military base somewhere up there. We'll go try to find a venue near the military base and we invite the veterans and the active duty to come to the show. And we give them a special VIP treatment. We cook barbecue for them and we really make them feel special. But let's just say I got Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs or another artist to do a show with. And wherever we perform that night, I want to make sure that when I leave that community, I've left something behind for the veterans in the form of nutrition, education, and the BrainTap headsets. So that's really what we're doing. And that's how we plan to scale the operation is, I want to do 100 shows. I want to help 100 cities. And that's, for me, this is not about the money or the fame or the fortune. I was fortunate to have a taste of that when I was in Vegas headlining. This is really about honoring my brother, my father, our Lord upstairs, and our veterans. That's what I'm doing this for. This is for them.
Well, again, a worthy mission. So before we wrap it all up here, tell us where to find you online, on stage, and where we can buy or listen to all your music. And don't forget to mention BrainTap.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And if anybody wants to learn a little bit more about myself or enjoy some of our music, they can go to ilovewhiskeytown.com. I know you're a big social media guy, so we've made it real easy for everyone. When you go to ilovewhiskeytown.com, all my social media is at the top. So you can click on Facebook, you can click on YouTube, see the other songs that we have out with videos, and learn a little bit more about the Whiskeytown Warriors, my mission, and our collective mission to bring wellness to our veterans and to our country in a way that's never been done before through live entertainment and edutainment. So thank you for the opportunity. And to your viewers out there, hope you have a phenomenal holiday season. And I'll see you guys on stage somewhere soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thom Kaz.
Thank you, Mark.
So what do you think? Is Outlaw in the USA going to be your new favorite song? This has been Mark Gilliat for AIM Country Music Television. Thank you so much for watching.